What's up, guys? AJQuest here, bringing you upcoming fight review between Luke Rockhold versus Chris Weidman rematch, UFC 199, June 4th. Before we do the breakdown of the fight, let's talk about each fighter first. Just let's start with Chris Weidman. Chris Weidman took this division by storm. He was undefeated, all right, up until he fought Luke Rockhold. All right, he beat the best of the best in the division. He beat Machida and several other people, but the main person that he beat was the legend, Anderson Spider Silva. He beat him in two fashions. One, everybody thought it was a fluke. It really wasn't. If you guys followed Anderson Silva throughout his career, Anderson Silva is a very flashy fighter. He likes to do those taunts. He likes to do the shake and bake. He lures you in, and that's what he do. But Chris Weidman wasn't falling for that. He stayed focused. His game plan was to go in there and not get into the fight emotionally, and that's what happened, folks. He's a good boxer, and it just showed you. When Anderson Silva was doing all those shake and bake, he caught him right in the chin, right on the button, and just put Anderson Silva out. And everybody was like dumbfounded. Everybody's like, what just happened? And I know a couple people, man. I'm sure a lot of people lost money on that fight. Rightfully so, because nobody knew about, Chris Weidman was going to win. He was such a big underdog, but he won anyways. I got to represent, he's from the tri-state area. I was rooting for him too. So, hopefully you guys won't hate me on that. But yeah, so second time around, he got into a fight with Anderson Silva. Anderson was winning the first round, outstriking him. Then boom, all of a sudden he threw a leg kick, and Chris Weidman checked it. Boom, popped his leg. It's broke. That's done. So now, like I said, the accomplishments of Chris Weidman beating Anderson Silva twice. That's huge, folks. Anderson Silva haven't lost a real fight. So he lost to Chris Weidman twice. You guys got to give him credit. And nobody believed in him. But now, let's talk about Luke Rockhold. Luke Rockhold, he comes from a great training camp. I mean, he trains with two elite champions. Well, one of them used to be a former champion. All right. He trains with Cain Velasquez and Daniel Cormier, and Khabib trains at the same camp. So he got great sparring partners, and he spars with a phenomenal striker, and both of them are great wrestlers, elite wrestlers. So one, he was a Strikeforce champion for the 185 division as well. So before UFC bought Strikeforce out. Okay, so let's talk about their first fight. The first fight, something looked awkward to me as far as like Chris Weidman fighting. Chris Weidman, he looked very uncomfortable in there with Luke Rockhold. Mainly to the reason was, just my opinion. Usually when he was fighting people in the division, he was the bigger man in the division when he took the division by storm. He was bigger than Anderson Silva. Like I said, taller. I shouldn't say bigger, but he was the taller fighter, and he's big for that weight division. All right. Now he's fighting a guy who's the same size as him, but I think he's 1 inch. I think Luke Rockhold is 1 inch taller than him. So pretty much his advantage is no longer there. So pretty much you're fighting somebody as big as you are, and now you really have to get down to who's better. So one, I just saw the fight. He was being outstriked. Okay, I could tell you guys that off the bat. You guys could argue with me all you want. Yes, Luke Rockhold outstriked Chris Weidman. One, he should have just stick with his bread and butter. He did take in his wrestling game. He did take down Luke Rockhold, but he really didn't do anything there. Couldn't hold him down. And the funny thing about the first fight, I don't know exactly what was he thinking of doing that spin kick, which pretty much ended the night for him. Luke Rockhold got a hold of him, and that was pretty much it. Took him down to the ground, and boom, he's a new champion. All right, so I don't know exactly what Chris Weidman was doing. It was maybe out of desperation. And to be honest with you, that's the first time he was in a really serious fight. Just because by the time his face was just pretty much all busted up. I hated to see that. I didn't want to see that, but it just happened. Like I said, I was rooting for Chris Weidman, hoping he pulled that W, but just the better fighter won that night. And I'll be honest with you guys, Luke Rockhold is a better, much well-rounded fighter, and and he comes from a good camp as well, and he trains with the best of the best in the UFC. So I'm not saying that Chris Weidman fights with, not a bad team. He trains out of Matt Serra's camp too. So they got some great fighters in there. But as far as sparring partners, I got to give it to Luke. He has a better sparring partners because let me tell you, those guys in Team AKA, they train hard, and sometimes they overtrain too hard, which means people get hurt before their fight. And just like recently, Daniel Cormier just got hurt with that knee injury, and prior to Cain Velasquez fighting Verdum, he got hurt as well. So, sometimes, in training camps, yes, they do get hurt, but in Team AKA, they get hurt more often. All right? That's what Dana White said. But, anyways, the way how I see this, I think it's just pretty much, I just don't see Chris Weidman. As much as I don't want to say that, I want to believe in Chris Weidman, but I think this is just going to be another striking match, and he's going to get outstriked. Plus, when he gets down to the ground, I just don't want to even say it. Yes, I think Luke Rockhold is going to win. And the only way I see Chris Weidman winning this fight, if he actually go back to his bread and butter, which is wrestling. Yes, you have to throw combinations to get the takedown. That's what he needs to do. He needs to cut angles. Plus, once he get him down to the ground, I think the best bet, don't be in guard for Chris Weidman. He needs to stay in side control and just rain down punches from side control and try to, wear down Luke Rockhold. Because once you get him on a side control, it's easier to kind of control somebody. But for the most part, Luke Rockhold, he's a well-rounded fighter. He got striking, jiu-jitsu. I mean, he submitted people too. So, like I said, this is going to be a true test to Chris Weidman in his career. Like I say, he's never been tested before. This is a true test for him. There's no size advantage for him this time, like he learned last time, and hopefully he doesn't do none of those spin moves and get desperate. But definitely, like we said, as much as I wanna, I'm still gonna root for Chris Weidman. I just don't see him beating Luke Rockhold at this time. Please, guys, leave me your comments down below. Let me know what you guys think. And like always, please like and subscribe. And also, thanks for watching.